And the key word there is words, a moment in time. I remember I saw a movie one time, I don't remember which one it was, but it had this phrase in it where the person says, all you need is 5 seconds of courage and you can change your whole life. And it's true, right? You can change your whole life in a moment of decision. If you just get yourself in a courageous state, that doesn't mean you're not afraid. Courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. Courage means you're afraid, but you do it anyway, right? So the bottom line is a breakthrough is that moment in time. So now my question is, what is the trigger for a breakthrough? Raise your hand if you have an area of your life in the past where you struggled. You were frustrated, you wanted to lose weight, you didn't do it, or stop smoking, you didn't do it, or a relationship thing, or a business thing, and you're mad at yourself because you kept saying you're going to do it and didn't follow through. Who's ever done this before? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Awesome. So raise your hand and say, I, if there's an area you struggle with over and over again until one day finally you went, no more. Not another day, not an hour, I'm changing this now, and you did something about it and changed it. Who's done that? If you did, get your fist up here, a hand up here, and say, I. Say, I. Great, because I want you to know, I'm not going to teach you something you haven't done. I'm going to teach you how you've done the past, and you can do it again. So that moment in time was triggered by something. Something triggered you to finally change it. I'm wondering if you remember what it was. And something that made it possible to change. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do right now. I'm going to ask you to sit up in your chair, and whether it's on your computer or your iPad or a piece of paper and pen, I want you to jot down, if you would please, write down at least one breakthrough you've had where you struggle with something for a long time, smoking, drinking, eating, relationship, a business thing, finance, and then one day you finally hit a threshold and you finally broke through. You had the breakthrough, you got the insight, and you acted on it and changed your life for the better. And here's how I want you to do this. I want you to write down, I'll put it up on the screen for you right now. Here's the steps. I want you to first write down, what was your breakthrough? What's the situation, again, when you struggled for a long time, you finally broke through? What was it? And then secondly, what was the moment that made you change it? What triggered you? So maybe write that word. What triggered me? What made changing a must, not a should? It was a should before. I should do this, I should do that, and one day, no more. Like maybe, have you ever done this? How many of you have ever stayed in a relationship way too long? Who's ever done this before? Way too long, right? And why'd you stay? You weren't even happy. Because like being alone might be more scary than being with this person. I'd rather deal with the devil I know than the devil I don't know, right? But you may have come across a day where you'd also say, well, it'll be better in the future. Or it used to be good. You change time zones if the present doesn't feel good. But if you ever had a breakthrough in a relationship, you probably went, you know what? It's been painful in the past, it's painful now, it's going to be painful in the future. I'm out of here. Who's ever finally got out of a relationship because your brain went no more? Who's done this before? Say, I. So I want you to write down a breakthrough. It can be personal, it could be your body, it could be a business one. Write down at least one. If you get more than one, down, great. But then what moment triggered you to finally change it? What was different at that moment? Did you get so mad? Or did you get so worried? Or did you get so excited? Or did you get it wrong? Like what triggered it? And then finally, what made it possible to have that change last? Was it a change in your beliefs about yourself or what you're doing? Was it a change in emotion, or you just got more passionate, or you got pissed off enough to change it? Was it meeting somebody who already succeeded and you thought, God, if they can do that, I can do this? You know, was it learning a new skill that made it possible? So I want to know, what was the breakthrough? You struggled, you turned around. What was the moment that changed it? What made you finally do it that moment? What trigger? And then what made it possible? What strategy? What insight? What person? What emotion? What role model? What new belief made it possible? And I'm going to have you take 4 minutes and do this as fast as you can, okay? Sit up in your chair, we'll put some music on, rock and roll.
And I think the word discipline has kind of gotten a bad name. We think about it in terms of punishment. I'm not talking about discipline in that way. I'm talking about discipline in the sense that you forego immediate pleasure for the exchange of long-term self-respect.
Solo, living means doing what you love to do. And if I have to fall here and there to do what I want to do in life, then so be it. And he just walked away. Never saw him again. That was it. But that statement really had me thinking, and it had me thinking hard, because I learned something that day. That's when I realized the true key to success You see, I always thought if I could just fear the act of failing, and if I fear it like crazy, I will succeed. Because I thought the fear would magically motivate me to get out there and start taking action.
God has never made a mistake. He's never made one mistake. All right? So it ain't about one play, it ain't about nothing. This year, we did what we were supposed to do. We fought as a team. We fought as a team. There will be one Super Bowl champ crown at the end of this year. That's it. So the way we feel, somebody gonna feel like that tomorrow, and somebody gonna feel like that in a week. That's a fact. And the fact is, we got to come back and go to work to make sure we finish it next time. That's all we gotta do. Joe, you played your ass off. You hear me, man? I'm telling you, man, don't ever drop your head when it comes to a loss, dog. There's too much pain outside of this that people really going through. This right here makes us strong. Let's understand who we are as a team. Let's understand who we are as men. And let's make somebody smile when we walk out. We got the opportunity to keep going. Let's be strong as a team. Let's be, Ravens on film.
Ready to talk to you about you. Ready to talk to you about compromising your life. When are you gonna stop compromising your life what everybody else wants you to? It is your life. Stop trying to sit there and trying to impress everybody. Stop trying to be everybody's friend. Stop trying to make everybody's day. If you want to do that, then give out lollipops and candy. That's not what life is made of. That's not what life's about.
It's not going to be easy. There are moments when you're going to doubt yourself. There are rough times that are going to come, but they have not come to stay. No matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, you've got to make it your personal business to make it happen.
If you attempt to do something beyond that which you've already mastered, you will never grow. What is it that you looked at some point in time and you decided that you couldn't do it? That you talked yourself out of it?
You're waiting on your next door neighbor to make it happen for you. It may not happen. If you're waiting on your mother or your father, they may be so ancient in their thinking that they don't understand this opportunity that you have. And if you're waiting on them, it may never get done. You don't beg average people to be phenomenal. You don't beg good people to be phenomenal. You just are phenomenal, and you will attract phenomenal.
What reason can you remember that you can call on, that you can reach on, that can make you get back up?
You can come out defeated, giving up on your dreams, or you can come out with a new passion, a new fire, excited about the new opportunities in front of you. Don't just go through it, grow through it.
That thing that you've dreamed about can be real, and when you have that, that's when you're going to have the energy that you need to push and to fight and to go through all of the difficult things that you're going to have to get on the other side and make that dream real.
I've been getting asked lately about the struggles people are going through with self-doubt, not believing in themselves, negative thoughts about themselves. And I believe the solution to self-doubt is to build something bigger than that doubt, which is to build our self-confidence. And one thing to know about the fact that you doubt yourself is, one, I struggle with it as well. One of the reasons I've had to go learn to build all these tools for myself is because in my life, my baseball career, my academic career, my business career, my speaking career, I've been riddled with self-doubt. That creeps up all the time in our lives. Am I enough? Am I good enough? You weren't born doubting. You weren't born discouraged. You weren't born thinking negative things about yourself. Those were thoughts that were placed in you and given to you by an external source at some time in your life. It could even be our parents. Don't do that. Be quiet. Sit down. Be a good boy. Be a good girl. Maybe it was criticism you received as a little one that you may not even remember to this day. The process of building self-confidence is actually very easy, believe it or not. Self-confidence is self-trust. Self-confidence is building a reputation with yourself that you keep your word to you, that you keep the promises you make to you. When I meet somebody who has a ton of self-confidence, I don't look at that as somebody with a big ego. There's a difference. Somebody with self-confidence has a reputation with themselves that I do the things I say I'm going to do. That's where self-confidence comes from. When I meet someone who is not self-confident, I know this is someone who has consistently made promises to themselves they've not kept. They've started a diet and done it for a while but not kept it. They've made a commitment and goals to go make a certain amount of money in business, and they started down the road but then they didn't deliver on it long term. To get up at a certain time in the morning and then they don't do it. And